he gives specific examples, right? So let's say he gives an example of where they were expanding the production capacity of a chip plant, right, in Thailand or Taiwan, and he walks you through, who was the decision maker, how much time did it take, how did they
Yeah.
say yes or no to that. So it's a good book. I'm still reading it, but it's a very good book for people who are in people management role. Sometimes, what he calls the redundant manager, right? If you become too offhand, sometimes you can become just managing people. And one of the important concept was Intel introduced was this, removed all the cabins. So he defines power in organization can be by virtue of knowledge or power by position. And his goal was to bring engineers, which is power of knowledge, and then managers, which is power by the virtue of position, talk to each other and how they can build the teams together. So that was an interesting sort of reinforcing the message I was already aware, but sometimes it just takes somebody else's words to remind yourself why it's important to sort of bring down the structured, and then this position and managers need to interact with people who are actually building things and do that on daily basis, especially in tech, right? So I will highly recommend this book. I think paperback is only about 400 $600 on Amazon. It's
Yeah, yeah.
far
This is also
light
one
on
of
pocket.
those
Yeah.
books that is in our recommendation list, High Output Management. So last week we basically captured the book by John Doerr, which is Measure What Matters, which is this guy's junior. He wrote that book.
Right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right, right.
Andy Grove. Um, but yeah, thanks a lot for that recommendation, Gulmani. Saurabh sir, hello, how's it going?
All good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, sir. Thanks a lot for joining in again. Today your counterpart is also here. Good, good, good. Chalo, I think Akash is also Akash is here. Akash is left. अच्छा आकाश वापस आएगा अभी उसका माइक का कुछ तो दिक्कत आ रहा है. Okay, so let's just move on to the next section, which is basically the news of the week. एक मिनट मेरे को तब तक setup यहाँ पे shift करने दो. Yeah. So I will also what I'll do is सौरभ सर को मैंने सौरभ सर आप अपना वो कर लेना वीडियो ऑन कर लेना. Okay, let's just move on to the next bit, which is the startup news of the week. Right, so we'll start off as usual with the funding news. I mean, this is again a little bit of a delayed data. This is still 11th of November. Um, Interesting data. This week, as in last week, around, I mean, it was a very good week for the startup ecosystem. Around $201 million dollars worth of funding happened across 23 deals. Four of them were growth stage or late stage deals, and 19 of them were early stage deals. A few of the names, so again, ExpressBees raised 80 million, Zepto raised 31.25 million, Euler Motors in EV they raised 14.5 million, and Go Mechanic again. Kind of the investors there are trying to salvage whatever is left. They also raised a round of $6 million here. Probably Kulmani Saurabh sir, you might be able to throw a little bit of light on the Go Mechanic story, and why and how are the investors still trying to keep it alive? But we'll come to that. Just finishing off with the early stage bit. So Bharat Housing Network, this is their second round of funding in the last 4 weeks. They raised their seed round, I guess, a month back, and this month they have raised their Series A of $14.5 million. They are basically into the lending space for affordable housing. And then Snapcrude, which is in 3D design, they also raised $14 million. Then the others which have raised are Vari, Stacker Labs, Bima Plan, and Secure Tech. Apart from this, I think from a city perspective, Bangalore, as usual, rules the rules. But this week, I think Mumbai and Bangalore and Delhi. all three of them have more than five deals which have happened across. So that's a very good sign. Then Chennai, Hyderabad, and Kolkata have also basically chipped in with a few, and there's also one Dehradun, which we have got one. I think I just wanna circle back to the Go Mechanic story here. Saurabh sir, Kulmani sir, can you what's your take on this fundraise? I thought the whole story was over. Why is money still being pumped in here?
I'll let Saurabh take the lead on this first.
क्यों क्यों पैसा क्यों दे रहे
I'm
हैं यार इसको
actually
इसको क्यों
searching.
what's the story?
No, so I missed out on this story. I need to just read through the net and figure out what really happened.
या ये मतलब बहुत ही मतलब this is something which happens ना सौरभ sir कि there are companies which become too big to fail because there is so much money which has already been invested in these kind of companies. But then usually they get either acquired or merged into a different entity usually. But in very few cases, we see that the an entity is still, they change the director, they change the management, and then they try to continue running this thing. What's your take on? I mean, whether this is a wise way of doing things or it's just a investor call कि यार ठीक है देख लेते हैं.
This is like a very standard model, right? So you do have investors who generally invest in distressed assets. So again, let's say I need to look at Go Mechanic financials if they are really stressed. But that's like a big business where you invest on a company which is supposedly not doing well, turn around the company and then try to make money. So obviously there are few bets which go bad. But in these cases, in case it hits, the payouts are a lot more larger. So it's easier for you to take slightly, let's say, large number of bets and make few of them work.
हम्म चलो
Yes.
सही है
So
सर
just
ये कहानी भी
adding,
हम देखेंगे because I think in the startup news there are a few which I have covered उस पे हम आएंगे ठीक है moving on to the top stories and the stories of the week I think सबसे पहली कहानी तो ग्रो की है I think Grow has done phenomenally well this year 2023 and they basically are in the plans to become an all-in-one fintech platform now. They basically, Harsh Jain is saying that they're basically approaching us as a D2C company and looking at problems from a consumer first perspective. But they have been able to get NBFC and AMC licenses, and they're basically now also venturing into payments. Interesting story for the reason that, and I think this is Saurabh sir, we were discussing this in last week also, that there will everybody once they become a little bit bigger, they try to do everything. They become a horizontal play instead of a vertical play. Once they get their T right, once they get their main hook, main anchor right, they basically try to consolidate. They try to diversify. What's your take on Grow? I mean, I think Kulmani sir, you will also have a take on this. What's your take on this?
yeah. So I think I'm little skeptical because balance sheet businesses are built very differently than a D2C kind of business. Uh, Also, I don't know how good this is for the existing investors of Grow. What happens is, again, this is because I have a limited visibility of what the management thesis is. But doing multiple things at one time may not be beneficial for investors in long term, right? Also, there could be a huge bias. Just because I am successful in doing A, I can also do B, right?
Hmm.
Which is most times it's a natural bias, right? Just because somebody is very good at something, we give them money to do something else as well, right?
Hmm.
While B might require completely different kind of a team and skill set and thinking, etc.
Hmm.
So that's why I am not a big fan of backward forward integration or going horizontal. For a lot of businesses, it doesn't make sense. But people end up doing it because either they have too much money with them, or they have this bias that they are going to be good at this as well just because they are doing this.
Hmm.
Now I think since I don't know how what management is thinking in terms of grow, but I think in coming years we'll get to know. But from regulation point of view, I think also it will be a bit tricky. They have, like you said, now NBFC and AMC license. Now financial industry in India tends to be highly regulated by RBI and other regulators. So I think they will have to be little careful in how they're positioning their businesses, etc. Payments again is a huge space if they're trying to attempt at it. Payment continues to grow, and there is space for other people to come in as well. But I'm personally, I think it's a bit dicey to do these different businesses which are different by nature. So balance sheet businesses are very lending is very different from payments, very different from D2C. So combining all of this, uh, I'm not sure how founders are going to do it all at once, but it looks prima facie, it looks very challenging to me.
इंटरेस्टिंग इंटरेस्टिंग देखते हैं क्या होता है ग्रो की कहानी में अगेन द पॉइंट इज वंस यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ कैश ना यू कैन टेक दीज यू कैन प्ले अराउंड एंड यू कैन सी कि क्या चल रहा है करके देख लेते इट्स लाइक एन पायलट और दे ट्राई इट एज एन एक्सपेरिमेंट एंड सी वेदर इट्स वर्किंग और नॉट वो वाली कहानी है एक मिनट लेट मी जस्ट पिन इन शादाब सर हेलो हाउस इट गोइंग
All good.
आपको भी अपना
Sorry for
वीडियो ऑन
joining
करना
late.
पड़ेगा सर
Give me a moment.
या आराम से करो
I'll come out.
so we are any which way I think Akash has also come back Akash will have a great take on this I'm sure let him come we'll have a chat hey Akash is your this thing working now
Yeah, yeah, mic is working. Actually, I was outside, so I tried to use phone, but there was some issue with phone. So
कोई
then I,
बात नहीं यार एक मिनट
no, I'm
हाँ
not sure.
so basically we were discussing now तो we are in the news wala section so we were talking about grow right so grow is now getting into payments they are saying that they want to become a one stop all in one fintech platform they've got the NBFC licenses they've got the AMC licenses and now basically they are getting into a space where they want to become a one stop shop for everything fintech what's your take on this
Mm, yeah, I think AMC makes sense. That is, yeah, that is quite clear. But NBFC is slightly difficult because, like as you know, right? Lately, if you see, there has been new rules, right, which says that you can't actually lend the money which is less than. So the loan can't be less than I think 40,000 or 50,000. Right? There's some number on which you can't lend. So that becomes very hard, right? Because now, if you want to give a person a personal loan or a BNPL loan of more than 50,000, then the problem is that you need to have very good information about the customer, else the risk is too high, right?
hmm.
So that is exactly, if you know, right, the Paytm stocks went down because in the Paytm postpaid, right, almost 60 to 70% are those loans which is less than 50,000. So that is why it will impact the growth of that book. So now the problem with NBFC of like loan more than 50,000, that is very hard without having the past data of the customers. I mean, not having the day-to-day data. So now you have this like merchant aggregator from where you can get the data. The problem with merchant aggregator is again that the number of customers, right, who is going to give you the access of that data would be less. That is first problem. Second, my problem with Grow is that if they are going to lend money to put the money in stock market, that's a very big problem, right? That means that you are using borrowed money to make money on stock market, and as we know, right, there are very few people who makes money in the stock market. So in the long term, there are only basically 3% of the guys who actually make money from the stock market, especially for for features and option. I think maybe mutual fund and equity, the number could be more. But yeah, to lend the money to invest in stock market, that's a like red flag for me at least.
क्या टेक है इसमें कुलमणि सर आपका? ये तो इंटरेस्टिंग, दिस इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पर्सपेक्टिव कि दे आर बेसिकली यूजिंग borrowed money to play the market then.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky situation. Uh, I don't know what kind of what is the investment strategy and how they are thinking, but certainly does not sound sustainable. I don't know because they could be also asset liability mismatch as well, right? They're taking money for X amount, X time period, and they're investing for Y time period. I'm not sure how they are doing that. Uh,
Correct.
again, it comes down whether they have experience of doing this kind of balance sheet
Hmm.
kind of business, which is very very different, right? Versus payments, uh, which seems to be more straightforward, more margin based. But this is kind of complicated for me. Yeah.
चलो
But let's see
देखते
how it
हैं।
unfolds. I don't know. I don't know how much money are they already investing, which they have taken from investors.
कुछ तो उठाया ही
Hmm.
होगा इन
Let's
लोगों ने।
wait.
ग्रो आई थिंक did one round in the past 1 month, 1 or 2 months. I remember covering it. नहीं सौरभ सर?
So I think these guys had already raised. Last one was 251 million, and
Hmm.
post that they I think did a small round of about 83 million again in 23. So 21 round was I think 251 million.
हम्म। प्रॉफिट किया है इन लोगों ने 450 CR का। तो करेंगे यार, इनको करने दो फिर जो मन में है। करने दो
I
इसको।
think, yeah, the best time these guys, right? They are making huge money and in actually feature an option. That's there the money is huge actually. The
Yeah.
problem is the lending business is like slightly tricky, especially in the like personal loan space. But yeah, let's see.
चलो ठीक है, लेट्स सी। विल मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन। दिस इज बेसिकली ओमिdyar exiting India. So Omidyar has been a long-standing one of the really great VCs out there. Network ही थे. They had invested across industries. They had some really interesting portfolios, 1MG, Indify and all. I think they are also they basically are now transitioning out of India. They tried to raise some money externally to start another early stage fund, but I think those deliberations are at a very, very early stage right now. क्या है सौरभ सर? क्या हो रहा है ये? कुछ आइडिया है आपको? Any insider info?
It's like you never get to know the
Yeah.
internal news why they're actually doing it, because again there would be definitely certain segment of investors or certain investors who tend to take a view that they are potentially making a lot of money outside and not being able to get so much, let's say, money in a certain geography, so they need to wind down operations there. And I think Omidyar has invested in few assets which have got issues in the past. That actually creates a bit of issue in terms of, let's say, continuing, because you do have other geographies where you can still invest money, which are a lot easier than potentially investing in India. Currently, given the current scenario, regulations, as well as certain ethical issues cropping up.
Hmm. But I think there's one bit, Saurabh sir, I think we'll do a separate section on this, which is around VC firms failing. We'll do that probably not right now. But this has been one of the few things which we have seen which is happening quite a lot now, and especially with the whole funding winter coming in, where the LPs are also not, anybody who's trying to raise newer funds, it's becoming a challenge for them. But we'll probably have that discussion again. Moving on to the next one is this is again ये कहानी है यार. Hotstar is going to be technically being bought over by Geo Cinema. वही कि समझ लो आप, Reliance is basically absorbing Hotstar through a share swap deal in Jan. The overall deal is approximately 1 to 1.5 billion. The duty is completed, but I think the overall valuation process will commence in Jan. Again, matlab, I think the content ecosystem in India is in for a consolidation. Hotstar, I think Disney was any which way is having a very bad time in India overall. Right now, Disney is having a very bad time, and I think Hotstar was one of their only well-functioning assets for the longest period of time. But the problem with Hotstar was that a lot of their traffic was primarily because of the IPL and the cricket matches. Sports was their major segment, and the moment Geo came in, and I think till the time Geo was not there, uh, the other competitor who always used to at least join in the bidding game used to be Sony Live. And that's why probably sometimes you would see some matches happening on Sony Live and all. But 80 to 90% of the time, since the last almost a decade, Hotstar had been the place where people watched cricket, IPL and everything. And that thing has kind of now when Geo has started Geo Cinema and they're going so aggressive, things had become difficult. 2023 has been a very bad year for Disney in general, because even globally all their movies have been failing very very badly. And this was one thing which I think, again, this is an opportunistic, a way in which Reliance kind of swooped in, and this made this asset their own, because Hotstar is a great asset to have on your portfolio. Given the kind of library that they possess. Any thoughts of you guys on this? Because I know a little bit about media, so I can give in my thoughts. But what about you guys? And hi, Pepperjet Pratik, right? I don't think we have been introduced yet. बट पहले
Yeah.
न्यूज़ कर लेते हैं, फिर
Uh,
पेपरजेट आपके,
mm,
हाँ. Hi, Pratik. Why, just introduce
Hi
yourself,
everyone.
and
Hi.
if you have any thought on this, would love to hear.
Yeah, so I am Pratik. I am currently a first year undergrad student at IIT Kharagpur, and I've been a part of the Builders Club since April this year. And I don't have much details about this topic as such, so I will be just learning
कोई
here.
बात नहीं, सुनो सुनो आप आराम से. And for all of you guys who are listening in, please subscribe to the Builders Club. Pratik, आप भी जाकर के, in fact, all of you guys, that will be one of the things that we have to do at the end of the show also. But हाँ, Saurabh sir, Kulmani sir, Akash, Shadab, you have been awfully quiet.
Yeah, so I'll. So who is doing IPL streaming now after Hotstar?
यार हॉटस्टार के बाद जियो सिनेमा.
Wow. So the thing is that the guy who was winning these contracts for them at Hotstar, I think he moved to Geo or
Okay.
something like that, because one of my schoolmates used to report to that person,
अच्छा.
and I met him a few weeks back, and he told me that his boss, ex-boss at Disney Hotstar, had left and moved to this, and that's why this business had moved there. But globally, I would
Mm.
say even they have brought back Bob Iger, right? He's back
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
CEO role now, right? So I think times are tough for them, and so good.
अभी तो यार, I
Hope
think the whole
Reliance has cash.
management, I mean, currently it's is the merchandising and the events bit which is basically functioning, which is their usual cash cow. The movies are doing very bad. Their whole Marvel plan kind of backfired when they tried to over milk the cow, right? And I think and they
Yeah,
had a golden
yeah,
goose here. I think it's just that they tried to do too much. But ठीक है, let's see how whether they'll be able to bounce back or not. But this is a very good deal for Reliance. This is a very good deal for Reliance for sure. Um, okay, moving on to the next one. So CoinSwitch is basically getting into wealth tech, right? So they basically are now making a new platform called People Co. which will basically deal in investment products like ETF, stocks, mutual funds, bonds and everything. And this will also include CoinSwitch and CoinSwitch Pro, which will be a platform with a newer investment class and a wealth management division. And this is, of course, because the Web3 ecosystem is in shambles right now, and everybody who had picked in money are basically trying to pivot and do stuff. Any thoughts on this, Akash, Shadab, Saurabh, Kulmani, on 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 the wealth tech pivot of CoinSwitch?
I think the only thought I have is that this is for me, it's very India one kind of a business, right? And uh, I don't know how long we can sort of keep on farming the same set of 1% of consumers, right? The TAM we are going after is everybody else who is building for India. India one is going after the same thing, right? But I think at some point, these wealth tech platforms have to think about how can we bring people who don't have a Demat account into that fold, right? So those kind of business models, I think, should be exciting in the coming 5 to 10 years, where we are thinking about people who are not trading, who are not don't have a Demat account, but would like to do micro saving. I don't see many founders thinking about wealth tech from that angle. I mean, this is not, again, not about concepts, but just a general thought that when I think of wealth tech, I'm thinking about, how can I bring, somebody sitting in Indore or somebody smaller town onto that platform where they start putting in 500,000, 2,000 bucks, right? But that's where the real unlocking will happen for next 5, 10 years. So, but regardless, I mean, then very small group actually, Zero the guys talk about it all the time, it's very, very small group, right? They themselves talk about it that this is a very small group and this is going to grow multiple fold, but I don't know how that's going to happen. But certainly, anybody who's planning to build in wealth tech needs to think from that micro saving angle, more from micro saving angle. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. But doesn't that mean that there is a TAM? I mean, there is a huge TAM, and there is all the more money to be made. And this is just a good market opportunity that these people are thinking कि यार है तो चलो explore करके देखते हैं. Because at the end of the day, the money is there to be made.
Yeah, money is there. I think this is more of a supply side issue where we are not speaking the language with the consumer bond, right? In that
Hmm.
time. So far, we are only appealing to very India one kind of consumer, right? ETF. I don't think people think that way. If you travel
Makes
out
sense.
100
Makes sense.
kilometers outside metros, yeah. So we
Akash,
need
what's
to
your
speak
take
that
on this?
language and then happen.
I mean, so what I think is that what you guys are saying there are quite apt. First of all, I think they have the money to explore this. And secondly, wealth management in most cases, what I have seen is that they are looking for people who can put more than some basically 10, 15 lakhs of rupees because they know that 1% of that money is something what they can make uh, on a regular basis. And that's why, I mean, if you see most, like most big firms also, right, they go after like these kind of customers who have a surplus money to invest. I think to make money right from the people who can just invest actually 500 bucks per month, it's very hard to make money from them actually.
Hmm.
1% of that is extremely low, right? So most of the wealth management firms, they are mostly after, I mean, the people who have extra money to invest. And I think it's quite right that they have the money to explore this. And if you see, right, mostly what happens is that most people do what is working right in the market. So right now, if you see in terms of banking, and VFCs are, they are doing very good. And the same thing, like what's happening that the wealth management firms, right? These firms are also doing very good. So any person who is into basically fintech, they want to expand into that because they know that this the way they can basically make money. So that's what's happening. I
Make
mean, the
money.
market is quite hard right now, and I don't think so. Their goal is to go after like people. who can spend 500 bucks per month. But I think I am 100% sure that if we can bring those guys into the ecosystem, of course the stock market would be much better for them and for us as well. But yeah, I think that's a much harder problem to solve, I guess.
Hmm. 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 Shadab, are you are you listening in? You haven't spoken anything. So I was thinking, Saurabh sir.
Shadav actually sent a text. He says that he can't speak today.
Acha, acha, sorry, sorry. I didn't see. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Ha, Saurabh sir, sorry. Go on.
No, it was covered actually. So, since these guys, because of their crypto side of the business, they already have the traffic of the guys who wanted to invest into a slightly risky asset class. So, in case they already have the traffic, it makes sense for them to divert the same traffic towards slightly more, I would say, the relatively safer asset classes. Obviously, the margins you can make in these products is low, so they need to go for high volumes. But since the TG is roughly the same for them, it makes sense for them to diversify. And anyway, that segment is growing, so there is no dearth of demand as such at this stage. So they can still monetize their existing user base out there.
Maybe plus, I think CoinSwitch had moved to Dubai, right? They had migrated to Dubai last year or during COVID. HNI is there. I think it makes sense for health wealth management if they already have a few or a decent sized portfolio or people whom they are connected with who can come on board as their clientele. I don't know whether they're targeting just India or they're also looking at the other markets, but from what I understand, it should be a smarter play if they tap into the Dubai HNIs and do their wealth management. But let's see. We'll have to probably dig a little bit deeper on this bit. Moving on to the next one. This is a this is what I was talking about when I was talking about Go Mechanic. Zest Money. Finally, they kind of shut shop. December 7th, so they basically on 7th of December they told the employees to stay at home, no need to come to office. They were trying to raise money internally with an internal funding round that did not materialize. Um, they initially tried to pivot. I mean, there's been a lot of story around this. They initially were almost going to shut shop. Then they again kind of revived with a new management. They tried to focus a little bit on the small ticket loans and EMIs, but that kind of didn't work out because of the RBI's lending regulations, and they have basically kind of shut shop. Um, any thoughts on this bit? I mean, this is a very I mean, my one of those one of those companies which um again a lot of corrections are happening in the ecosystem, and there are companies which had picked up a lot of money on some model which probably was not the right one, and this is just one of those cases where the companies kind of were not able to sustain. um any specific thought on Zest Money by you guys? I can Akash, Kulmadi, you people are in the fintech, in the finance space. Koi any insight ki what could have been done better, what could have been done better, or what could have how we could have salvaged this situation in case?
I think I can
So,
only speak. Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. So I think I've basically worked with that money. One thing I can assure you, right? The people who work there, right, are quite smart, right? One of the guys I basically worked with in that money was quite smart. I mean, I think the issue what has happened is that, right, in 2020 and 2021, right, they were the one of the biggest BNPL, right, at that
Yeah.
time, and the lending what they had done at that time, right, that is where it actually backfired them, right, because their NPAs in those like 2020, 2021, like the time at that time, the lending what they had done was absolutely bad. But like after that they have hired like smart guys. I have seen that some of the guys what they had is like I also tried to post them because they are smart. I mean, but yeah, I mean these. I mean this is just one of those situations where your past mistakes had haunted them for a long time. But yeah, I mean that is exactly the worst thing about net lending, right? You have to control. You have to control your NPS. If you can control NPS, and like finance or fintech is a business, right, which will grow y on y. But the only
Hmm.
condition is that you should just maintain NPS. That's the only rule.
NPS or NPAs? Which are you talking about? NPS. The net promoter.
NPAs, NPAS. No,
NPAS, na?
NPAs is non-perform. Yeah, yes,
Non-performing assets. You're talking
non-performing
about
assets.
non-performing
Yeah,
assets, na? Not net promoter score.
yeah. Nah, 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 nah. No, no,
अच्छा मैं
no.
वही
Net
कंफ्यूज हो
promoters
गया.
is no in the
हाँ नहीं नहीं
no,
ऑफ
no.
कोर्स ऑफ
NPAs is
कोर्स.
non. Yeah, the thing is basically the definition of NPA is like something that a person has taken the loan and he has not
Loan
paid
and he
back
has
in 90 days.
defaulted.
He
Hmm.
has defaulted and he has not paid back one buck also for like 90 days. That is the
Okay.
definition of NPA, non-performing asset.
Got it. Got it.
Oh, yeah. So that is where I mean your principal is also lost, and the money what you will be making on that principal is also lost. So for any banking or NBFC, the biggest thing is to make sure that your NPA should be much small as compared to your like PAT.
So
That's
what
like
you're
that's
saying
what
is
you
they
have to.
did not focus on the NPAs. They basically focused on the growth aspect. कि ले लो
Right. See,
whoever is
so
taking, let them take.
correct. Correct, exactly. So
Hmm.
what might have happened? Like I don't know what is their internal numbers, no idea. But just giving a simple example. Let's suppose you have 500 bucks, right, which you have like lended the money. Now, what might happen that the people who have defaulted, right? Let's suppose your interest as this whole on this like on this 500 rupees is, let's suppose, 10%, right? So your profit would be like 10% of 500, which is 50 rupees. And why and the only reason behind this is that the people who have basically taken the loan, they should actually pay the principal as well as they should pay the interest back, right?
Hmm.
That's the whole game. Now what has happened is that if you take the principal, right, and you run off, right, so their principal is also gone, and the interest what they would have the like what they would have made is also gone. So instead of making that like 10% as their PAT, they actually went into loss. So what has happened is that the principal actually shrinked month on month,
Ah.
year on year. That is what has happened.
Hmm. Kulmani sir, you had a take on this?
Yeah, so for a long time, I used to cover banking. So for 4 or 5 years, I used to cover India private public sector banks. That's part of my regular job. And actually, NPA comes much later. You have something called special mention account, SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2, which is 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. So you tend to know if something is wrong, going wrong with your loan portfolio, probably 2 3 months in advance, because your SMA 0 will go up, and then 30 to 60 days, and then 60 to 90 days, and then you sort of classify them as NPA, right? So that's part one. So you do have some leg space where you can pick up those indicators, you know, at least 1 month in advance, but you need to have that experience, or risk management technique has to be fulfilled. Second, generally in BNPL, I don't know if you guys remember, Square acquired in 2021 an Australian company in BNPL for Afterpay, I think that was the name, for about 29 billion during COVID.
Klarna,
Uh,
Klarna only.
yeah, yeah. Some Australian players. So BNPL has been around since 2013-14. It's not a new
Hmm.
thing. I've been focusing on that. So, but I think we were just when BNPL went in other extreme, where we started putting so much premium on it, expected return, and now it's sort of pendulum is coming back. So Square, I think, did a share swap deal at that time. They paid 30% premium, and it didn't make sense to me because they were only doing in Australia and New Zealand. It's such a small market. So BNP in general, I think it was like inflated extreme. Now it's coming back. And then this risk management, right, in lending business, it's very, very important, right? That's the only job you have, right, is to manage the quality of your portfolio. So, and you have those indicators, like I said, special mention accounts, 0, 1, 2, 3, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So you need to be quick and recognize those things. But even, few basis points, you know, 0.2% increase can mean a lot for any lending player, right? It's not
Hmm.
so every basis point has it multiple degrees of effect. Yeah, so it's very difficult business.
Got it.
So
Got
BNPL,
it.
I think it's now coming to sanity, which is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. I think yeah, this is the I think last. Yeah, there one more. One, two, three. Three more. Okay. So Dunzo is not being able to pay salaries right now. Okay. So and this is because they are waiting for the infusion of the first tranche of the money which they are expecting to get from investors. Um, I don't know whether it's signs of trouble or not, but I really, really, since the time Dunzo has been around, I am not a big fan of this company. You know how people have been. I mean, again, take it's a logistics play. I get that, and I have been the earliest of users when I was there in Bangalore when Dunzo launched there. But I think their overall expansion plan has been very, very confusing. I don't see them. I don't understand what these people are doing. Um, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, any takes on that sort of Gurmani sir on Dunzo in general कि क्या चल रहा है इनके साथ मेरे को कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा पैसा तो उठा लिया इन लोगों ने बट क्या चल क्या रहा है इनके साथ
This is the problem with certain businesses, right? When uh, you are able to raise substantial amount early on, you try to grow too fast, which in which case you just expand your employee base or expense base so much that it's very difficult for you to manage. Secondly, once you're starting up these kind of businesses, you tend to keep the pricing too low just to attract customers, assuming that you would be able to monetize it later.
hmm.
But after a couple of years, there are multiple such funded players come in, and you generally don't get a chance to expand your revenue base or increase it to the regular price. So till the time you are selling a thing for 100 rupees and you are spending 125 rupees on either delivery or on that product, there are, let's say, certain investors who will be putting money up to an extent, but of course, that new investors are not going to come in, and those are the places. By that time, either you need to become profitable or you tend to go down. So this is like a general textbook thing which is currently happening. So it's much more about that your unit economics needs to make sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, and just we juxtapose this to Zepto. This is where they have focused maximum. I think every dark store for them, I think, is already a bit of positive. And what is negative for Dunzo is with the $200 million, they're able to grab all the attractive real estate for their dark stores at a much faster pace. And also they're focusing on, integration, etc., sourcing directly quality of materials. So when I look at quick e-commerce, right, I look at my own habits. For me, it doesn't matter if I get something in 10 minutes or 13 or 14 minutes. The quality also has to be really good. So I think that's also where Dunzo had challenges whenever I tried to use them once or twice. The quality was not good, even if the timing was good. So now they're kind of a tricky situation because now Zepto is just going to press the pedal, right? Grab all the attractive dark store, and there are only few locations where you can do those 10-minute, 15-minute delivery in a neighborhood.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
a
I
good
think
situation
Dunzo
for them.
had the
Yeah.
first mover advantage in the Q-commerce bit, but I think they became a little bit. I don't think they had the vision कि 10 मिनट में वाला positioning कर सकते हैं. They were there since what 5 years? They had a 5-year head start. but they try to do so many other things.
Yeah, I mean, look at Big Basket. Big Basket exited, then came back again. So it's like confusing, and everybody is expecting that this 0.3% becomes 1%, and all of us will become profitable. So I don't know how long, how many hundreds of millions of dollars we'll have to burn to see that day. But that's what everybody is counting on.
Hmm.
That if it reaches 1%, I think all of them become some sort of profitable there.
Hmm. Acha. Let's move on to the last two because I think we are going a little bit over time. So Polygon is going to power Flipkart's Web3 loyalty platform. Uh, so basically this partnership, which is so Flipkart basically is launching a Web3 loyalty platform called Firedrops. And what this is basically going to do is basically for user engagement and everything, people are going to get rewards and gamification and reward mechanism using Web3. And this is a NFT focused brand loyalty platform which these people are creating. So Polygon is basically powering that for Flipkart. This is a very interesting take because I think Web3 is the wrong term. I think blockchain is the right word here. I think blockchain based reward and loyalty based platform is something which these people are making. Web3 ecosystem, I think Polygon is the only one which is relevant now, which is the only relevant player left in India now. और अदर इंडिया बेस्ड कह सकते हैं इसको या इंडिया नेटिव क्योंकि इंडिया के अंदर तो कुछ कर नहीं रहे हैं ये लोग आई एम वेरी सरप्राइज दैट फ्लिपकार्ट इज ट्राइंग टू गेट इनटू द ब्लॉकचेन एंड वेब3 स्पेस एनी टेक ऑन दिस विल मूव अ लिटिल बिट फास्टर इन केस एनीबॉडी ऑफ यू हैव ऑन दिस बिट ठीक है नेक्स्ट पे मूव
And
करते हैं लास्ट न्यूज आई थिंक दिस इज लास्ट या दिस इज द लास्ट न्यूज सो ओला इलेक्ट्रिक इज फाइलिंग फॉर आईपीओ in December. They basically have already, they are about to file its DHRP ahead of its year end. Um, and of course, their losses have doubled, but I think their market. I mean, this is a market which is growing now, which is slowly opening up. They are pumping in all the money that they intend to just to get the infrastructure and as much market share as possible. And Ola Electric is basically playing on all the facets of the value chain. मतलब बैटरी भी बनाएंगे हम स्टेशंस भी बना बैटरी स्टेशंस भी बनाएंगे और हम स्कूटर भी बनाएंगे हम गाड़ी बनाएंगे सारी चीजें हमारी होंगी तो इट्स अ ग्रैंड प्लान भावेश इज ऑलवेज नोन फॉर हैविंग ग्रैंड प्लान्स and more often than not he has been able to show success so any take on this bit what do you guys think ये आईपीओ का क्या होगा क्या लगता है गुलमणि सर आकाश सर
who? The question is for who?
हाँ हम्म
We, for retail investors, so it's always losing. I mean,
रिटेल तो सर छोड़
finance
ही दो
one, no, finance 101. Um, EV is interesting play right now. Again, I don't know where the value creation will happen because he's again doing a lot of things. What I recognize is that brand recognition is definitely higher versus Ether and other players in the market for Ola. Price differentials for two-wheeler, I think it's only 8-10,000 rupees between them, so it's almost similar price. But I think he has done a good job at branding. So, that Ola electric thing. So that's a plus plus. So he has a head start on that. I think because of building capacity for manufacturing, he maybe that's where I think a lot of money is going currently. But as demand for EV goes up, I think he will see better days going ahead. Uh,
हम्म
Besides that, I don't have much view. I like what he's done with branding marketing side. That's a strong suit.
यार दैट्स
Um,
तो स्टैंडर्ड ना अब तो पैसा है तो सर करेंगे मार्केटिंग ब्रांडिंग पे तो खर्चा होगा अभी दैट्स हाउ यू
right, right,
क्रिएट
right.
अवेयरनेस इन दिस ग्रोइंग मार्केट ना वेयर एल्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो
Uh,
I think at this juncture they are less worried about. I mean, of course, there's the quality of the product, but I think right now awareness is more important because whatever shortcomings the product might have, these will get fixed. So Bhavesh is known for going, as fast as possible. वो बोलते हैं ना, move fast and break things. That's what has happened with Ola electric scooters as well. The first version which was launched, but he's smart enough to make the changes, and he runs the ship his own way, right? So if you don't agree with him, then ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. Thank you very much. Right. So I think let's see how it goes. I think Ola is in for the long haul in terms of this thing. And in case you people, of course, IPO के टाइम पे पैसा हाथ में आए ना आए, but I think Ola Electric के shares is something which is to look out for, the way I look at it. ये भी रिलायंस टाइप बड़ा हो सकता है, जो एक टाइम पे जियो में 2008-2007, मतलब मेरे ख्याल से जियो जब खुला था, आई थिंक 2014-15 के आसपास, वहां से लेकर के अभी तक जो निकला है, मेरे ख्याल से ओला कैन हैव अ सिमिलर रन. लेट्स सी हाउ दैट goes. Any take on that, Akash? Do you trade?
Yeah, I put a lot of money in stock market. So that's yeah, but see, I think what is mentioned in the past is absolutely right. I think retailer like right now for them to make money would be extremely hard because
Hmm.
it is in loss, right? And these guys will not. So they give multiple of the sales, right? They actually create a valuation which is multiple of sales and not the multiple of PAT, right? What a normal company does. So if you
Hmm.
see any company like Tata or something, right? If they put like if they give any IPO, right? Their P will always be based out of PAT, right? Something some basically 30 times of PAT. But yeah, most startups, at least in India, right? They put multiple of like top line, right, which is sales, so which is slightly hard for them to make money. Secondly, in this space, right, what I see is that Hero Motocorp, right, that has a very big like share, right, for the two wheelers. I think their market share is close to basically 60%.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
like as far as I know, yeah.
Full
So
mass.
what I feel is that yeah. So their partnership, right? I mean, the thing with the two wheeler is not only the sale, right? That is of course is important. But if you see, right, the thing here is that what is the strategy for distribution? What I see that Hero Honda has a very big distribution at the same time distribution and maintenance, right? That is the biggest thing of that of Hero Honda. So I feel so they also have a similar company in this space. I think when they will go like into this, right, I think they will make huge money. I think they will be the biggest player to like make money in my eyes because they have the tier 2 tier 3 distribution as well as maintenance, right? That if something breaks, right, they have the they you can go to the place and get it like fixed. With Ola, I think to have the same distribution as a Hero Motocorp, I mean that would like take years and years. And I feel that might, I mean, they can also be one of the players, but
Hmm.
the biggest player who's going to make money in my eyes would be Hero. I think.
Should be Hero.
So I
Hero
think
is Hero is
they
already
have
there. Good morning, sir.
they have invested in Ether, right? Hero is an investor in Ether.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I,
correct.
yeah,
It's an
yeah.
Ethan.
But the
So
Hero
yeah,
also has its own range of electric bikes.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. So I think besides distribution, one more point which we should think about is charging infra, right?
Huh.
So Ether is kind of trying to standardize that with their charging plugs, etc. And I think Hero has adapted, and I think another player is Bajaj also is there, right? So I was just listening to the Ether founder, I think day before yesterday. So there is a huge interest in these kind of wholesaler and distributor. So they received around 20,000 applications for Ether distributors, and each dealership I think costs around 3 to 5 CR. So definitely there's a lot of interest from people who are currently selling petrol diesel two wheelers to switch to this model. So they want to get these dealership as soon as possible. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. I believe that the money to be made in electric is in the infra and in the batteries. Everything else will come and go. But that is where the
Yeah,
money
yeah,
lies.
yeah. And recycling batteries long term.
Ha. By batteries.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's see. I think this is again Tesla is also coming in soon. Uh, if if government gives discount to Elon sir, he's asked for 15% discount or some kind of rebate. तो देखो अगर मिलता है तो but Tesla will also be there. So the future is electric, but let's see how things work out for Ola. All the best to Mr. Bhavish for this. And I think with that we will end the startup news section. Any news that you people think we missed out or anything which you want to cover? I think we are a little bit over schedule, so we'll probably not take that debate. I think we have covered quite a bit of this week's news. Um, I will get down to the giveaway. So as you guys know that this working backwards is today's book of the week. Inside Stories and Secrets from Inside Amazon. This is a great book if you really want to understand how the PR plus FAQ model and the six pager models, which are used as best practices within Amazon, operate. Great book for you guys. All you need to do is number one, subscribe to the Builders Club channel, and number two, leave either a comment on the YouTube channel or any of the social media channels and tag the Builders Club, and we will basically give out there are two copies to be given out this week. So Shadab sir, Saurabh sir, Akash, Kulmani, few people also won. You can just do the same. I'm leaving the link of the YouTube channel here in the chat. Please subscribe if you haven't already. um and I think that is it for today. um एक